Social Security payments by 34% less today than they did 18 years ago in the year 2000. So think about that. For $1,000 you received in Social Security in 2000, the year 2000, that could buy $1,000 worth of goods. That same dollar, even with the cost of living adjustments adjusted for inflation, will buy only $660 worth of goods today. That's inflation, my friends. That's how dastardly inflation can affect you and your retirement planning. So welcome to Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel, my friends, the place you come to learn about Social Security, inflation, and everything else financial planning under the sun. I do a video a day, at least a video a day. So don't forget to subscribe. Hit that little button. Let me get this out of the way. That little button down below. And then once you subscribe, you want to hit the bell to be notified for future content because, like I said, I do a lot of videos. So let me minimize myself here. I subscribe to a thing called the Horse's Mouth Savvy Social Security Planning. It's just a wonderful place to get all kinds of great articles to read about what's going on in the world of financial planning, Social Security. There's also one for Medicare, which I subscribe to as well. And this article I got from Social Security, or from Savvy Social Security Planning at horsesmouth.com, comes directly from CNBC. So let's just dive over there real quick. And we're going to read this to you because this is critical, my friends. This is critical. Social Security benefits by 34% less than a 2000 study shows. If you feel like your Social Security check doesn't stretch as far as it once did, there's likely an explanation for that. Since 2000, the buying power of monthly benefits has fallen by a third, a little bit more than a third, according to the Senior Citizens League, an advocacy group out of Alexandria, Virginia. I'm sure they're advocating for increases in Social Security. That's what they're advocating for, rightly or wrongly. That's a lobbying group. Nothing inherently wrong with that, but they're lobbying on behalf of their members to increase Social Security benefits. The one thing they're going to do is focus on the negatives of not increasing Social Security benefits, and one of the negatives would be 34% less purchasing power than it was 18 years ago. And so here's Mary Johnson, who's an analyst for the league, says people who recently retired may have seen only a small decrease in buying power, but those retired for a long time are feeling the cumulative effect of this. About 47 million older Americans receive Social Security. Overall, those benefits comprise about a third of income among those aged 65 or older. That's according to SSA, the Social Security Administration. The league's annual report examines the costs that typically comprise household budgets of older Americans and compare the price changes with the annual cost of living adjustments that Social Security provides. Based on those comparisons, the research found a 4% loss in Social Security buying power from January 17th to January 2018 and a 34% increase since 2000. So again, a 4% reduction in purchasing power each and every year, essentially since 18 years ago. Well, that's even with the cost of living adjustments. That's freaking scary, man. So if they're giving you 2% a year of COLA, or 2.6 is what we're anticipating, and the cost of living is going by 4%, you're losing 1.4% per year in real purchasing power. You fast forward that over 15, 20 years, that's real money. While COLA increases since 2000 cumulatively have equaled 46%, matching inflation over those years, typical retiree expenses grew by 96.3%, says the study. Of those 39 costs analyzed in the report, 26% grew faster than the purchase percentage increase in COLAs from 2000 to 2018. So here, right here, Medicare Part B premiums right there has grown by 195%. Prescription drugs out of pocket, 188%. Home heating oil has grown by 180%. Medigap, all right, 158%. Propane, 150. Real estate taxes. So in fact, the real estate tax is my big bugaboo actually. And so that's grown by 129%, whereas they say inflation has grown by 46% in 2000. You're not getting around Part B monthly premiums. I suppose you have a Medicare Advantage policy. Do they pay the Part B premiums? I can't remember. But if you have a Medicare Advantage policy, that might help you. But then you're kind of restricted in some regard. Prescription drugs, will Part D cover that? Well, if you're up against a donut hole, then you're going to eat the bulk of that. Home heating, if you got to heat your home. I shouldn't say anything about solar PV panels, photovoltaic panels, but I'll keep that for another thing. You got to heat your home. And if you're thinking solar panels are going to do it, you're wrong. That's just all there is to it. Am I anti-solar? No, I have solar panels. I like them, but they're not going to be there for heating a home. It's just not going to happen. Medigap, all right, you're part F, part G, real estate taxes and propane gas. So you got home heating oil and propane. Housing and medical outlays top the list of fastest growing expenses that retirees face. For example, average Part B premiums have risen 195% to 134 from 45 in 2000. That's real money. It's not a pretty picture, says Mary Johnson. It's difficult costs when costs are so increasing much more quickly than COLAs, especially if you're on a fixed income. Johnson said the report uses 2000 as a baseline because that's when changes to how inflation is measured were fully implemented. Social Security adjustments, cost of living adjustments are based on the measure called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Critics say that formula fails to consider the different spending patterns for retirees compared with the U.S. population at large. Could not agree with that more. And the Senior Citizens League have a thing called the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. I could not agree with that more. Since 2010, the average COLA for Social Security has been 1.2%. Most recently, there was no COLA in 2016 and 0.3% in 2017, while 2018 we've had the biggest boost in a while. But most retirees saw that money go into Part B premiums. Johnson estimates that the COLA for 2019 will at least be 3.3%, which could help mute some of the loss of the buying power year over year. Yeah, some of the loss. But I'm sorry. If you're do I got my trusty calculator? Yes, I do. All right, so let's see here. Medicare Part B premium. So if you got 45 as our present value, 134 is our future value. You got 18 years. My phone's ringing. Sorry, guys. And no payment. That means that has grown. 45 present value. That's grown by 6.2% a year. All right, 6.2% a year in Medicare Part B. Let's just look at propane. We start with a buck, 1.01 is our present value. Right there. And we got, 2.60 is our future value, 18 years. That's 5.4%. So you can give me 3.3% all day long. That's fantastic. I'm not going to argue with that. But if this right here is growing much more quickly than that, that's not gonna help. Now they do have this hold harmless and all that stuff. I get all that, but at the end of the day, they're not going to hold you harmless for heating oil, propane gas, real estate taxes. Where's the money come from if you're on fixed income? And on top of that, if you're pulling money out of your IRA to pay for this, you got to pay tax on that. All right, so I tell you, this is a big deal. This is inflation. And if you think about it, when I was a kid growing up in Maine, it was 1978 or 79. I remember I got my first, I had like 25 cents. I could go down to the store and buy a can of soda. I could buy penny candy, a handful of penny candy. That 25 cents today, you can't do that. That's inflation. Inflation is the biggest tax there is for the most unwary, because they say, oh, I'm not losing money. You are losing money. Inflation is eating away at your assets. And if inflation is at 2.6, which is, let's just say it is, because that's roughly what it is, and your investment portfolio is making you 2.6, you're breaking even, but you're paying taxes on that inflation. Because after taxes and inflation, you're still, again, you're getting 2.6, got $100,000 in your account. You need that $100,000 is going to grow by 2.6. So you have $102,600 in a year. All right. Now you could buy this cup for $100,000. Let's just say next year, this cup will cost $102,600, $2,600 more. But that $2,600 you got to pay tax on. You're paying tax. Let's just say in the 15% tax bracket. That means you're only going to have $2,200. You're going to have to pay $2,200. So you lose $400. So now I can't buy this cup with my $102,000 because I have $102,210, but this cup costs $102,600. That's inflation right there. Even though my investments perform at the rate of inflation, I was taxed on them, and inherently I lost money. I can no longer buy this cup. Anyway, so you can't just rely on your rate of return equaling the rate of inflation. You got to look at your rate of return plus taxes, and you got to do better than that. You got to. That's all there is to it. So I would need, so we got 2.6 plus 1 point. I would need to get 2.6. I need to get 15% above that. 2.6 times. I need to get 3% return to get to break even after taxes, inflation. Ugh. You got to keep that in the back of your mind, my friends. It's dastardly inflation. It's dastardly. And even though it's low, well, look at it right here. It's low on some things, but it's not low on others. That's for sure. I mean, that's heating oil. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Hope you find this informative. The solutions are, unfortunately, is that you got to have some kind of investments that can beat the rate of inflation. That's all there is to it, plus taxes. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell to be notified for future content. Man, this frustrates me because I know I can see people right now who I know who they are. They're on fixed income. They got to pull money out to pay for the real estate tax. That money they got to pull out is being taxed. They're not keeping up with the cost of living, and they're burning through their assets, and it's just bad. All right. Anyway, so we'll see you next time. Don't forget to comment below. Go to the blog at heritagewealthplanning.com, and we'll keep talking. I'm just going to bring you the news, and if the news is bad, I'm going to share it with you. When it's good, I'll share it with you too. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.